Hi, my name is David Reske, CEO of Nowspeed Marketing, and welcome to this edition of Marketing in the Now, where we talk about the best ideas in digital marketing. And my guest today is Andrew Carlson, a three-time CMO with experience leading marketing teams at companies like Distributor Data Solutions, John Donne, and Antilia Scientific. And I probably pronounced all of those wrong, Andy, but
No, you
welcome to the
nailed all
show.
three. You nailed all three. Yeah,
Did I? Well,
that was
welcome,
good.
welcome to the show. Glad to have you
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
You've
Thank you.
had over 15 years of experience building and leading global teams and growing business with digital marketing and e-commerce. So I'm just thrilled that you've joined the conversation today, talk about some of your experiences, and really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I guess it has been 15 years. Doesn't seem that long, but yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, it
Well,
does. Yes, it does.
you and I have been talking a lot about e-commerce, which can be
Hmm.
very challenging for firms, but especially this area of B2B e-commerce, which is
Sure.
kind of a subset of the general market of e-commerce. And you're really an expert in that area. And one of the things you shared with me is that you've developed what you call the rules of B2B e-commerce as a guidance for strategy. What do you mean by rules for B2B e-commerce, and why is it important for companies to think about that?
Yeah, sure. One of the habits that I've developed over the years is trying not to learn the same thing twice, right? So I've built this list of 21 rules just because 21 sounded like a nice number. Um, for B2B e-commerce. And really the purpose of those rules is, as I mentioned, is one, not to learn the same thing twice, but two, to really to give my teams a set of guide rails or guide posts to work within to help them make decisions. And I found that it helps us make the right decisions faster because we can just refer back to this set of guidelines or rules, as we call them, and know that if we're adhering to these guidelines, then we can just move forward and not always have to discuss every decision we make. Because when you're running a B2B e-commerce business, um, there's a lot of decisions you need to make on a daily and weekly basis. And so if we can give teams if I can give my teams a set of guidelines to work within, I found it really speeds our execution, and then we don't make the same mistake twice.
It's very, very powerful. Give me an example of some of the decisions that B2B e-commerce leaders have to make every week. What are you thinking
Yeah.
about on a regular basis?
Yeah. Goodness, where to spend our time where to spend our time is one of as I moved through, kind of increased responsibility throughout my career. I realized early in your career, you get known for what you can do, and then as you progress, you become known for what you can help other people do.
Hmm.
And so the thing I would spend a lot of my time on, regardless of the role, but particularly in running a website, is making sure that my team's working on the right things. And again, these rules kind of help us focus on what those right things are. Um, and I think maybe some of those, then maybe just to jump straight into some of those rules. One of my favorites, and this actually frees up a lot of time for the team. One of my favorite ones is that your homepage is not your most important page.
Hmm.
I've sat in sessions with CEOs, with boards, with outside consultants, and everybody has an opinion on your homepage and what a homepage should do and what a homepage should look like. And um, they're very pretty and they can be useful for people that don't know you at all. But for your customers, for your people that have an idea of who you are before they arrive, especially in e-commerce, they're not coming to the front door, right? Who comes to your front door at home? Is people trying to sell you stuff or dropping off a package? That's it, right? Your friends, your family, those most important to you, they come to the side door. They come through your garage. They come to the back door. They come in however they want, but they rarely come to the front door. And it's the same with websites. And so why that's freeing for teams is you'll see you'll see teams get caught up in work around, oh, let's make this adjustment to the homepage, let's fix that on the homepage. And at the end of the day, it's all window dressing and it doesn't really matter that much when you're trying to make money off your website. So focus your attention in all the other pages. Watch where people are actually coming into your site, where they're actually landing. Focus your attention there. And in e-commerce, that tends to be your product data pages, right? Sites I've run in the past, 40 to 50% of the traffic comes directly into a product page or a category page, um, because they usually know what they're looking for, or they have a general sense of what they're looking for. And so they come straight into one of your other pages. And those customers and those visitors tend to be a lot more valuable than people who come to the homepage first.
So really spend time optimizing the pages that matter,
Yeah.
and it may not be your home page.
Yeah,
You got to work
absolutely.
where people are really
And if
coming.
you can show people the value of people that enter through your homepage versus the value of people that enter through other pages on your site, it tends to you can remove the noise around that conversation. Because internally, what does everybody do? They want to give you feedback on the website and they type in the URL and they go straight to the homepage and they start giving you feedback, which is so is viewed sometimes as meaningful because of the source of the feedback, right? It's the hippo principle, right? Um, but when you can come to that conversation with data and show them, hey, our most valuable customers, here's what they're doing, here's where they come into the site. It tends to remove the noise around the homepage. And the goal of the homepage is just to get them someplace else on the site.
So take me a little deeper. What are some of the other rules that you think about that
Yeah,
B2B e-commerce managers should be thinking about?
yeah. I think most e-commerce managers are aware of this by now, but if your site search isn't your highest converting portion of your site, that's where you should start. Um, Typically, your site search users are going to convert 4 to 5 times higher than the average, and that's when that average includes site search users. So if you exclude site search, it's even greater than that. But if your site search isn't doing the job that you need it to do, that's where you should start. Um, and there's so many great ways to get feedback on site search, even internally. You can watch your customers use it. You can review the performance of it, but have your sales team use it. See what they struggle with. Have your customer service team do it. Make them experts on it, right? Site search is really, and your site in general is really the catalog of 20 years ago, and your salespeople were experts in the catalog. And if they're not experts in your site and they're not experts in your site search, or they struggle to use it, imagine how much your customers are struggling to use it if your salespeople and your service people can't even use it. So if site search isn't doing what you need it to do, start there. And then oftentimes the reason it's not doing what you need it to do, it's because of the inputs that it has, right? It tends to be because your product data isn't what it should be, or it's not rich enough, it's not deep enough. Um, Customers, sorry, your sites or your product data just isn't rich enough or deep enough, and um, site search engines can only find what's there to be found. Right? Sounds simple when you say it out loud, but it's it's really, really true. And so oftentimes you see people want to replace a site search engine, and actually what they need to do is improve their product data, because the engines are all pretty good at finding what's there to be found, and some are better at recommendations, some are better at accessories, some are better at, but if the product data is not there, that's going to be typically the source of your issue.
Yep. So site search has got to be there. The product data has got to be there. You've got to be optimizing the pages that matter. Take me deeper. So what are the some?
Yeah,
We'll talk a little bit more about the why in a few minutes, but I just want
yeah,
to hear some more of those thoughts about what those
yeah,
rules are.
yeah. I guess I can keep going down that same
Yeah.
path. So another issue I see, or another issue I see related to site search in general is in B2C commerce, we were all taught that recommended products were a great thing to show, and people also bought, and that really doesn't apply as much in B2B. Um, in B2B, you need to be thinking about accessories and products that work with or are made to work with, um, replacements, right? So the recommended product, the way those engines work, the way B2B buyers typically shop and buy, the recommendations are usually not very good. So this is where you need to be intentionally merchandising products intentionally associating products, whether it's in your product data and in your PIM or in your CMS and within your site search engine, depending on where those capabilities exist, but being very intentional about the products that you show that work with, are accessories of, or replacements for products on your site. Just another rule I have related to this, go a little bit even deeper, is it's a B2C trend that doesn't work in B2B. When a B2C product is obsolete, you typically remove it from your site because nobody can buy it. It's no longer, right? You no longer purchase it. No big deal. B2B, that product, that part, I guess maybe think about them as parts is probably is a better way to think about it, is the information, the specifications, the safety sheets, all of that other data that exists with your product data or with that product can't be removed from your site if it becomes an obsolete part. People still need access to that information. They're still going to search it. They're still going to be doing a repair on something 5 years from now and want to go back and look at the user manual, want to go back and look at the specification document or find out what's the replacement part. And so they're going to search for that old part. And it's a great way for you to be able to redirect them to the replacement part. So I've been a part of businesses where I joined and we had all of these old obsolete products that people were still searching for that they took down the page was taken down because the part was no longer saleable or was replaced by something else, but people still knew that part. And so they got frustrated and left. And so we brought back all of those old parts and provided proper redirects to the new replacements. And you saw the site performance, the search performance improve.
So, Andy, as you talk about these different rules that you have and the
Yeah.
strategies, it just strikes me that this is a incredibly detailed exercise. Like I think you have like, is it 21 rules?
Yeah. Yeah.
21 rules here. It's a very detailed exercise, and it strikes me that you could do an amazing audit for B2B organizations, thinking about all these things. Are they really executing this in different way? How much money would you say an organization is leaving on the table? I know it's impossible to do a dollar amount because everybody's different, but what's the order of magnitude here? If you're doing it well versus doing
Yeah.
it terribly, is it like, you can make 10% more money? Do you think companies are leaving 50% of the money on the table, 100% of the, what,
Yeah.
how
Well,
much
if I
money are
think
people
about,
leaving on the table by not understanding these detailed rules on their own websites?
yeah, I'm going to do some thinking out loud in front of you here, but um, because I love the topic of where's the money being left on the table. I started my career in finance, and so I'm always thinking about where money's being left on the table. Um, and we'll think about maybe in a few different buckets, right? So there's the first one most people think of, and that's the revenue opportunity, right? Um, and I've seen site improvements of 20 to 30% fixing site search, fixing your product data, um, because it's the adding another line to your order. It's the not being frustrated with the search results and leaving. It's all of those things compounding over time, and every good experience you provide just compounds your retention rate over time as well, right? So the upside is significant. And then there's the other parts of profitability that sometimes are forgotten as well. You think about improved margins or decreased returns, decrease scrap in field and credits that so often follow. And the e-commerce leader doesn't always have visibility to that stuff, but the CFO sure cares because at the end of the day, it's how much money you keep, not how much money you make, right?
Hmm.
And so great product data, great site search, all of that stuff can prevent people from buying the wrong product and needing to return it. Or there's improvements to it also improves the return on your paid ad spend, right? You're
Hmm.
being able to show more relevant product. Your feed is filled with rich product data, and so Google can do a better job of showing the right product, and therefore should improve your click-through rate, should improve your conversion rates. So in there's lift in return on ad spend, there's lift in conversion rate, there's lift in improved margins, there's lift everywhere you look. Um, And yeah, so it's depending on how how sophisticated or how well you're performing today, the upside can be very, very significant.
Can be huge. And I love the way that you broke that out. And in your analysis, you can probably point to specific things that could impact, as you said, revenue, margins, maybe customer retention. I love the way you even talked about customer service, client
Yeah.
satisfaction, company satisfaction. All of those things can be impacted by doing it better. So there's obviously a lot of money to be made by doing this well.
Yeah.
What's preventing companies from really optimizing this fully? Is it lack of knowledge? Lack of expertise? Is it just the way they've always done it? Do they not believe in the channel? How do you think,
Yeah.
what is keeping B2B organizations from really going all the way, using all 21 of your rules and kind of making e-commerce as effective as it could possibly be?
Sure. Yeah. I wish it were just kind of one or two straightforward answers. But it's very unique to each situation. But things I've run into in the past are um, our customers aren't ready. That's always a good one, right? Blame the customer. The customers aren't ready for this. Um, I hate to tell you, I think they are.
Mhm.
Um, you'll see, our customers, they like talking to us. They like coming into the store. Right? They don't mind paying their invoices over the phone,
Mhm.
um, which which we know those are all just kind of it's all just different. It's all different lenses on the same excuse. Our customers aren't ready, or it doesn't matter to us because we're special.
Yeah. So that so they kind of they get stuck in the old ways
Yeah,
of doing things,
yeah,
or maybe they're afraid of the investment. Is doing e-commerce well? It is a significant investment, so that maybe it's only companies that have they're bigger companies with that can expect or forecast large e-commerce sales that can do this, or can you get started at a small level and then grow it, as you build your business? How do you
yeah.
think
That's
about the
that's
investment required?
no, that's a great question. 10 years ago, it was a pretty significant investment because all of the things that customers expected to be there, they didn't exist unless you built it yourself. And so it used to be a pretty significant investment, but now you see some of the major platform players pivoting to B2B and delivering a lot of these capabilities that we were building 10 years ago, especially on the back office side, um, that come out of the box. And so you can get started for a heck of a lot less than you used to be. And these things, you can set up sites now in weeks and months versus months and years. Um, And I guess the other way to talk, it's the opportunity cost or the risk that you're taking by not getting started. So you can get started pretty inexpensively, and eventually all your customers are going to expect this. Um, so every B2C customer expects it now, and we're getting pretty darn close to every B2B customer expecting to be able to transact with you, to explore, to learn, to get everything to do business with you this way. So you can get started for not that much and then it can become self-funding, whether it's through revenue growth or internal efficiency.
So there's really no excuse for a B2B organization not investing something, at least to get started in e-commerce,
Yeah, I'd like to
because
say
they're
there isn't.
yeah,
I'd
because
like
they're
to say
they're
there isn't.
buyers where buyers want to buy that way. Their competitors are doing it. It's less expensive to get started than ever. They just have
Yep.
to do it well, right? So
Yeah.
I can imagine there's a lot of B2B organizations, and as a digital agency, we face this many times with things like digital advertising. We talk to people who say, "Oh, I tried that Google thing. Yeah, it doesn't work." Yeah, and often the reason is because they did it badly, right?
Yeah.
If you do advertising badly, it doesn't work. I imagine the same thing happens in e-commerce, where we set up an e-commerce page, a shopping cart, and we do it badly, and then it doesn't work. So, and your approach with, the 21 rules of e-commerce is really a playbook for doing it well so that you can be successful, right? So that
Yeah.
you kind of helping them think all the way through to build a successful business around it.
Yeah. Well, because you're right. It can be intimidating to get started, right? And that's why I publish these rules for my team and start sharing them more broadly is just to help people um, not make all the mistakes that we've made over the years and kind of start with a foundation of principles that they can use to expedite their project and get them on the learning curve even faster.
Yeah. How do you integrate the e-commerce strategy with the rest of the organization? You talked about on the sales team, talking
Mhm.
about customer service. How do you, when you're moving forward in B2B e-commerce, how do you align all those organizations so that you're going to have an successful e-commerce engine?
Yeah. I I worked for a CEO that used to love the phrase. He probably still loves the phrase. Um, People buy what they build, right?
Mhm.
And so as you're starting this project, as you and not even as you continue to run this channel and this way for customers to interact with you, keep your internal teams engaged. Have them help you build, right? Have them be the testers. Have them be provide feedback on the design. Have them help prioritize the functionality based on what customers are looking for. Um, I said people buy into what they build themselves. I think it's called the IKEA effect or something like that.
Mhm.
But it really makes a difference in building a site. And I think everybody's past this now, but if um, you have to also not have it be a potential to harm your sales team, where I've seen organizations where people don't get credit for transactions that go through the website. Like that would be like making your customer send an email and not calling in the old days, right? Like, oh, if they call, that's a different channel. Like, no, it's not. That's just how they want to place their order. So don't penalize your sales team. Make it a part of their territory, right? You can have a channel view of the business and a customer view of the business and a product view of the business, but don't punish your sales team, your service team, whoever it is, for sales that come through the web in their own compensation. So that's a great way to kill the project right away.
Hmm. So you got to think through how this is going to work with your channels, with your sales team, and make it
Yeah.
integrated so it can be
If you
successful.
if you frame it as a benefit where now customers are placing orders without my involvement and I still get the credit, I'd push all my customers there.
Yeah. Andy, we just have a few more minutes. I just want
Yeah.
to take some time to uncover a few more of your rules because you have a lot to
Sure.
say here.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at number 20. Self-serve should not be self-serving. What do you mean by that one?
Yeah. So I think this one came about when I was helping lead a customer service and technical support organization, and and I think it's just in basic interactions with other websites as well. Is I find when the self-serve and it's the chat option or even the FAQs or different ways for customers to answer their own questions. Um, so often I would see the end result working in a way that just benefited the company. It took the work off the company and never really gave the customer the answer they were looking for or thought about what the customer's experience was interacting with these self-service tools. And so if it's frustrating for the customer but easy for you, that's not good. If it's if it takes a little bit more effort from you, right, but the customer loves it, perfect. Right? You should always look like the duck. We should be the company should be the duck under the water, and the customer should see the duck floating on the pond. And so if your customers are frustrated by your self-service options because you made it easier for you, that's not going to work long term. It needs to be easy for them, and if it takes a little bit more effort for you, then that is what it is, right? Focus on the customer's experience when building out your self-service capabilities.
Yeah. And you're doing it really because that's the way that they want to buy,
Yeah.
and you're making it easier for them by doing e-commerce.
Yeah. And if you're able to gain efficiency internally through it, great. But the first reason to do it is because customers want answers when they want answers. And so if you can make that experience great for them in the self-serve, then they'll keep coming back.
Let's talk, and we just have a few minutes left, but let's talk
Yeah.
about the integration with service. You have your rule number 15 is service should be readily available. Make it easy to connect with a real person quickly.
Yeah.
So how do you integrate that service experience with the e-commerce experience in a B2B context?
Yeah. I guess that one's a little bit related to the last one we just talked about too, right? It shouldn't be self-serving. So it's the same concept. I started my marketing career in direct marketing, in direct mail. And one of the rules there is always make it easy for someone to find a phone number, right? And so you take that same concept and you roll it forward to all the different ways that customers can interact with you now. It's the same concept. Make it easy for them to know how to reach out to you, no matter where they are in a self-service process on your site. Make the chatbot, the phone numbers, the contact forms, make them really, really easy to find and make them work as we all expect them to. Um, because at that moment, when customers feel the need to reach out to you, that's a that's a win or lose moment. You do it well, they remember it. You don't do it well, they remember it. Because fewer and fewer people actually want to reach out to you now. And so when they take the time to do it, you better do it well. Otherwise, they're always going to remember that negative experience and go look for another source for someone that's doing it better. And so it's really about making it super easy for that customer, wherever they are in their journey, to get in contact with somebody or get in contact with the answers or get in contact with the person that can give the answers really, really easily.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It feels like the big challenge here is, organizations, especially B2B organizations, we're doing business, have been doing business for many years, and they're doing it through people, right? And now with e-commerce, you're having to code all of that for specifically into pages and structures to make it the e-commerce engine work. But you've got to do it in a way that works for the customer, works for people, and aligns with the organization. So
Yep.
I think it's powerful, and the impact that you can make through this process is powerful as well. I love your 21 rules for e-commerce, and it's a very useful tool for a lot of people. We're out of time, Andy, but if people want to get in touch with you, learn more about uh, your methodology, how you might be able to help them, other ideas for optimizing e-commerce B2B sites, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm the first Andrew Carlson on LinkedIn. I've been on for 20 years now. Or go to b2bworks.com and just send me your email or fill out a form and we'll get in contact.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much for taking the time today, Andy. It was really
Yeah.
good talking to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care.